What a trip it's been for the Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series. Starting on the border.
Come and get you some of that! Come and get you some of that! Yeah!
Then moving through the south, stopping at the shrines of largemouth bass fishing along the way.
Get you some of that! Get you some of that!
But will that change today? When the series makes stop number 8 at a natural lake way up north, better known for smallmouth bass.
Yeah! Might go Ike. I don't even like him.
2 different ways to go, but there will be only one winner of the Empire Chase.
Yes! Woo!
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series Empire Chase, presented by Mahindra Tractors.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail and the Eagle has landed here in Lake Oneida, west central New York State. The Elite Series rolls on, our 8th event of the season in this beautiful glacial lake here, the thumb, in fact, of the Finger Lakes, a place that is full of fish, full of bass, a lot of them this species right here, the smallmouth bass. There are millions of them in this lake, but there's another school of thought going on here saying I can win this tournament by catching largemouth bass. That's one of the issues we're going to address today. We got a great tournament going on. Tommy Sanders here with Mark Zona. We're back in Mark Zona land. How about this? This is where, as a young Bassmaster, you cut your teeth.
Z-Train country, Tommy, is what we got. You know what? Throughout the whole year, we've been to some great places. We've heard guys catching 20, 30, 40 bass on different lakes. There are guys catching 50 to 100 bass a day. If you want to see fish catches, this is your house right now.
Yes, but what about our major controversy here? We got the smallmouth on the one hand, we got the largemouth on the other hand.
Well, you know, there's two trains of thoughts going on right here. Numbers against quality. The guys catching smallmouth, 50 to 100 a day. The largemouth guys, quality, maybe only 5 to 10 bites. So 2 different strategies.
All right, you talk about all these smallmouth in this lake, but it seems like so many of them are of the same size. A guy may catch 80 a day, yet he may not have a differential against his competitor of 4 ounces. How does that work?
Well,
out?
you know, the biggest thing right now that you're seeing going on here, the guys that are fishing for largemouth, they're just grinding away. The guys fishing for smallmouth, well, they're having fun.
All right, let's take a look at that leaderboard. Yeah, this is going to bear that out. A little over 3 pounds separating our top 12 anglers. 12 anglers going at it on this final day. $100,000 on the line. And man, oh man, it has been a long time. I mean, a really long time since we have seen competition that is this tight. And we are ready for our final day's launch here on Lake Oneida. Jerry McInnes is out there. Tight as we've ever seen it, Jerry.
Tightest top 12 guys I can ever remember. And our leader, Tommy Biffle, is behind me back there somewhere trying to get ready to make some history. But I'm going to shut everything down here for about 60 seconds. I'm going to take you back a couple of days. I'm going to give you some goosebumps. You remember Mike Reynolds? Mike Reynolds is well, he didn't make the cut today, but he's having a real successful Elite Series. And he's the angler who chooses, instead of a sponsor, to honor the armed services with the wrap on his boat. And on the second day weigh-in, we had a real surprise for Mike Reynolds.
And this was sent to the Bass office, and it says, Mr. Reynolds, I'm aware that you've received many displays of thanks and appreciation for your generous show of patriotism and respect of the armed forces. When I first read of your boat wrap on the Bass website, I immediately requested a flag flown in your name over the Multinational Corps Iraq headquarters. This is a program here in Iraq that is used by soldiers and units to recognize the support of the people back home for the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines deployed over here. I ask that you accept this gift and put it to good use. I and the troops here are proud to be served back home by patriots such as yourself, and welcome the opportunity to give back to those that overwhelmingly support the troops over here. Thank you. Sincerely, Stan Harvey, First Sergeant, U.S. Army.
How about that Mike Reynolds stepping out, doing something that not everyone would do? He deserves recognition.
Definitely deserve it.
All right, the final day. This is championship day. We will get our winner after 8 hours of fishing. We got 12 contestants left after 3 days of qualifying. They'll fish for 8 hours, as we say. 5 fish total for the day, and your best 4-day total is going to win you the $100,000. Here's a guy who's a threat, especially up here, KVD Kevin VanDam.
It's pretty exciting when you know you're going to go out and just knock the heck out of them. The trick here is just getting those quality fish, so we're going to have to change up a little bit, and hopefully we can get a few bigger fish. So.
Kevin VanDam spent about 3 weeks smallmouth fishing before this event. He said, Zona, I am coming here with guns loaded. 2 baits, a jerkbait and a tube.
It's just the ones you want to start with right there, bro. 3+. That's not bad for the first fish of the day, guys. 5 like that, a couple kickers, and you're going to win.
Zona, how many smallmouth are we going to see caught today?
Bud, get ready and get on the ride. We are going to see over 100 caught, Sanders.
All right, Kevin VanDam on the smallmouth early, on the top of the leaderboard early. Tommy Biffle working the largemouth. That's the battle we've got set up today in the Empire Chase.
That'll help for now.
Verify. Air Force! Bring it!
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series Empire Chase, presented by Mahindra Tractors, and is brought to you by Citgo, Mahindra Tractors, Toyota, and Mercury.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, our Elite Series rolls on. This is our 8th stop of the year, the Empire Chase. And here we are in West Central New York, Oneida Lake. And of course, it's going to be a battle as we've set this up between the smallmouth anglers, the largemouth guys. That man right there, Tommy Biffle, decided on day 1, he's going to forget about smallmouth. He's going largemouth.
Well, you know something, Tommy? He actually made that decision the first hour of practice. I got to talk to Tommy on the second day of the tournament. He said, Zona, I went out, I practiced for smallies for 1 hour. He said, that is not my strength. His strength is getting on the bank, fishing shallow. Now, the biggest thing he's looking for is undercut banks. We can't see him real good right here, but throughout the day when the sun gets up, we'll see him perfectly. What is an undercut bank? This lake gets rough, Tommy. It gets huge waves, and what happens is the waves smash against the bank and literally make a roof. That's where the largemouth will sit and ambush things.
Tommy Biffle waiting for that first largemouth bite of the day. The largemouth has worked for him. 16 pounds, 12 ounces on day 1, came back with 14 plus on day 2, back over 16 on day 3, and he's getting things started again.
You know, one of the things that I've always thought about Tommy Biffle, he's an all-in fisherman, okay? He fishes one way, one style. Now, the biggest thing about Tommy, he doesn't care if he goes down in a tournament as long as he's fishing his strength. This tournament has set up perfectly for him.
All right, if you want to watch technique for flipping, this is one of the best guys in the world to watch, right?
Like I said, it's an all-in style. He is either going to be at the top of the leaderboard or way at the bottom.
All right, a good keeper there, a good largemouth for Tommy Biffle. Obviously, he's betting the farm on largemouth for 4 days in a row here. In 6th place is Charlie Youngers from Florida. Charlie Youngers making his first cut of the year, and he's looking to make a big splash here on Oneida Lake.
Oh my goodness. There he is. See what I mean? When they decide to eat it, they eat it.
Charlie Youngers from Geneva, Florida, one of our experts on Lake Toho, where we started the year with the Citgo Bassmaster Classic. Not one of the suspects you'd think who would come up here to Oneida Lake and start whaling on the smallmouth, but that's exactly how he starts his day.
I'm pretty fired up for Charlie. Charlie's had a rough year. His highest placing finish so far was a 49th place finish at Grand Lake. But what I want the folks at home to really look at here is the smallmouth. These are pack hunters. They literally get in little wolf packs, 5, 10, 15 bass. Once you catch one fish, it ignites the entire school.
Well, he's ignited a school. He's on his 4th fish already. We're in less than 30 minutes here. Not even 7 o'clock yet, and Charlie Youngers is getting after him. Now, are they all the same size?
No. The biggest thing you want to do is just weed through the small ones. Once you get through the small ones, then you can start culling into the bigger size smallmouth.
I don't know why my heart's beating so fast. I got 8 hours to go yet.
Charlie Youngers with the limit, and now the 2-pound lead over Tommy Biffle. Let's go back to the takeoff and take off from there. Head all the way to the east end of Oneida Lake. And I want you to take a look at a scene right here. Two guys. Have we got some sort of Hatfield and McCoy feud about to happen right here? I've never seen two guys fishing this close together. Ken Cook and Mike Iaconelli.
Tommy, this is very expected when you're smallmouth fishing. Sometimes you know, I was just saying about Charlie, you catch, a school that's got 5, 10, 15. Sometimes you can get on a school that's literally hundreds of bass. That is exactly what Mike and Ken have found here.
All right, as these two set up, if you've been waiting for the drop shot to make its appearance all year, get ready. Here we go.
No jerkbait fishing here. Drop shots and very light line.
All right, so it's not just bang, hook set into the boat. These guys will have to fight these smallmouth. Jerry McInnes is out there as well.
Folks, you would think we'd have an incident going right here, but with two guys fishing this close and right in the middle of the race, both Ken Cook and Iaconelli have a very good chance of winning this event. And here they sit within a cast of each other, and normally that might be a problem, but evidently there are so many smallmouth in this area right here that everybody can fish and have plenty of room and get along okay. Iaconelli is probably throwing a little tube. I think he's throwing a Berkeley tubes trying to imitate some of those perch fry, and Ken Cook over here to my right is drop shotting, and he's got a little finesse worm. Both of them are fishing in about probably 10 or 12 feet of water, and we're going to see a fish here any second now. Okay, looks like we've kindly had a little breakthrough right here. Actually, I can tell you a little bit about the history of how Mike found this place. If you could see, sun gets a little higher, you can see there's a real algae bloom in the water. And a lot of the anglers thought that there was so much it was kind of nasty. They didn't even want to come down here and fish. Mike came down here and fished in it and found out that a lot of these little perch minnows were feeding on the algae. I mean, millions and millions of them. And then the birds started feeding on the minnows, and that's how they found this spot. There is a bit of a hump here. They're in 10 and 12 feet of water.
It's going to win this tournament right here. You hear me?
Okay, Ken Cook has just got back in the game. I think starting the morning off, Ken, he had about 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds on Iaconelli. Iaconelli, of course, jumped up even in ahead of him with that one fish, and look at Ken Cook, he's right back in it. And this school of fish is evidently getting a little bit active. And again, we think they're here because they're feeding on these little bitty perch minnows. And those guys aren't, but my gosh, they're not even hardly an inch long. You know, I'm going to ask Mike if it bothers him to be watching somebody else catch a fish right in front of him, and he's going to say, no, it doesn't. But he's lying. It does. You've got to be sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I got to get on the ball. Watch this, watch this. Mike, does that even affect you watching somebody else catch a fish?
No, we've been watching each other for 3 days. We're having fun. We're having a good time.
I told you he'd lie.
We both love to win this tournament, but it's just, when you catch smallmouth like that, it's fun. I don't care what I don't care how you look at it. It's a fun deal. So we're going to do a lot of that today, I guarantee it.
Been interesting.
Mike Iaconelli, currently just one big smallmouth out of the lead. We are so far from done here. Take a look at what else we're going to do. Also, when we get back, we're going underwater to really take a close look at how the drop shot works. Don't go away. We'll be right back at Oneida Lake.
Was that Jerry and Archie on the jet ski?
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail. This is our 8th event of the season. As our Elite Series rolls on, we're in West Central New York, the thumb of the Finger Lakes, Oneida Lake. And there's the man who started this final day, championship day, with the lead. Tommy Biffle, he's been overtaken by a Floridian. Charlie Youngers, so two Southern guys coming up here and whooping up on this crowd. Tommy Biffle, the man famous, well, for a lot of reasons, but also because he's had 2 seconds in the Citgo Bassmaster Classic. He'd like to get a win here, erase a little of that.
Yeah, well, he's having a time here, Tommy. You know, interestingly enough, McInnes and I were having lunch together after day 2. We both said largemouth will not hold out in this event. Now, Kevin VanDam, Mike Iaconelli, they both got on stage and were vocal about it. They said by day 4, the largemouth will fail.
dog driving that jet ski. He's got an ugly girlfriend. I don't know which.
All right, once again, Tommy Biffle started this tournament. Actually, in practice, he went out with a buddy. They were going to have some fun catching some smallmouth. They couldn't find any smallmouth that would keep him in the tournament, so he made up his mind right then and there to go after largemouth, and he's definitely bucking the conventional wisdom.
If there's a largemouth bass swimming in a lake, Tommy Biffle will not fish for a smallmouth, trust me. Here's what I've been talking about, though, is getting near these undercut banks. Big time waves crashing into the shore and making a roof for these largemouth to get underneath. There it is, right there. That has been the weapon the entire tournament. Yeah, he caught a few fish on a little topwater frog, but that right there has been the key. Pitching it into the little shady areas, getting the fish to react. Now, the most amazing thing to me, Tommy, his areas seem to be reloading every night. A lot of people thought that they would run out. They're reloading every night with quality bass.
All right, people said that wouldn't happen, as you mentioned. Well, Tommy Biffle's proven them all wrong. He's kept that largemouth bite going for 4 days now. He's actually one fish behind our leader, Charlie Youngers, at this one. That could be the one right there that puts him back on top. That looks like a good largemouth.
That right there is the exact kind of fish that the smallmouth fishermen are not catching. The smallmouth guys are up-ouncing their catch, okay? This guy is gaining pounds right now on the field.
Tommy Biffle in shallow, super clear water, catching bass. If you'd said at the start of the season, that'd be one of our big stories of the year, no one would have believed you.
3 more. That'd hurt him if they catch 3 more like that one.
That's a largemouth. That's a good largemouth.
Yes, it
Tommy
is.
Biffle has made his career catching largemouth. He's not going to go up to some Oneida Lake and start catching smallmouth. He's sticking with what he knows. Tell us about the differences, though, between these two species.
They're like me and you, Tommy. They're just different creatures, man.
Okay.
One of them, the largemouth, green, hangs out shallow, you know. If he was a person, he would eat chicken wings, man. He's a little bit messy, okay?
Got it.
But the obvious thing you'll notice, the jawbone goes behind the eye, extends behind the eye, and like I said, he's green. On the opposite end of it, the smallmouth, brown in nature. That's the best way to know you caught a smallmouth, if he's brown. But that jawbone does not extend past the eye. But the biggest obvious thing is the mouth. Largemouth has a big mouth, smallmouth has a small mouth. That's it. Now, we're going to talk about how Tommy's catching these fish. Basically, 2 main weapons here. We've got the little topwater frog right here, but this one right here, this little salchichas right here.
The sausage.
Exactly right. The sweet beaver. This is exactly how he's attacking these largemouth. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum,
drop shot.
The drop shot. Let's go to the party going on. As usual, Sitco Bass Eye View.
Yes.
We've got the drop shot right here. And what you'll notice, it's the exact opposite of what people know of a Carolina rig, okay? The weight is on the bottom, the hook is up top. Now, you'll see a little finesse worm right there. That's not all you have to use. You can use a little crawdad, you can use a leech, a minnow. That's basically it.
All right, and Mike Iaconelli using the drop shot in combination with a tube right now.
Now, T-Naughty, this is when things get fun when you're smallmouth fishing. This is the joy of smallie fishing. The entire school, 30, 40, 50 bass come up schooling, okay? You just start throwing. Now, here's the problem he has. When you're throwing a drop shot, you need to retie every single fish you catch, okay? He doesn't have time to do that. They're busting he's gonna start firing a tube. Now, the only problem you have with the tube, the smaller ones are getting it. You're not getting through the school of fish. You're catching 13, 14, 15-inch bass. He needs to get through that school.
He's hoping to get back to the drop shot at some point. Mike Iaconelli, of course, the 2003 Sitco Bassmaster Classic champ. You remember him in that classic, doing a switch off with rod to rod, throwing something different at it. He's the master of doing that.
He's a master of that, but he's really the master of this. This kid has grown up on these northern lakes. He knows exactly how to catch them, the weapons you need to catch them. But the biggest thing, he needs to get back through that school. He needs to get down to the bottom, and he's not doing that. He's really only gaining ounces right now. Even though he looks like he's catching a ton, he's not getting a ton of weight.
Again, Mike Iaconelli is out there with just yards away from Ken Cook. Both these guys work in this spot, which contains apparently millions of smallmouth bass here.
That's the beauty of it. But the biggest key, though, is the perch they're feeding on. If you look at the color of that tube, it mimics those perch to a T. It's almost like trout fishing matching the hatch.
There he goes, retying now that drop shot. He's been needing to do that for the past 10 minutes. The action's just been so hot and heavy. So he ties his shoe, and we get back, and maybe, yes, okay.
There you go. I love the hat. You know, the hat is what's on fire right now.
Oh, it's giant, dude.
Maybe he has a cold or something this week.
pounder. I finally tried retying that drop shot 3 times, and every time I would go to retie it, one would break, and I would pick up my tube and cast to it. As soon as I retied that little drop shot, I caught the bigger fish, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Little number 2 drop shot, split shot hook, like a trout hook, a leader, about a 14-inch leader, an 1/8 ounce true tungsten weight, and then here's the magic. Just a little gulp Berkeley minnow, and it imitates a small forage that you're feeding on, and you just nose hook it. That's all there is to it. 6-pound Berkeley Vanish fluorocarbon. That one helps.
Iaconelli, he's right about that. He is bringing the magic with that flurry right there. Iaconelli is just a half-pound back of our leader, Tommy Biffle. So this classic battle between the largemouth guys, the smallmouth guys like Kevin VanDam. Well, it rages on here, and we'll visit the rest of them. Dave Wallach also in the picture. Remember, we got tight competition here. Bernie Schultz is in the top 12. We'll see what everyone's up to when we get back.
It proves there's more than one way to win a classic tourney, Sandpiper.
Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail. We're in New York for the Empire Chase presented by Mahindra Tractors. This week's stop on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is Oneida Lake. It's the final day competition. 12 anglers are left. The big bass of the tournament so far, 5 pounds, 14 ounces. The Pure Later big bass caught by Terry Butcher. That was a largemouth, and that's the setup we have here. Tommy Biffle, the man in the lead, catching largemouth, and all these other guys catching tons of smallmouth.
You know, if Kevin VanDam is in our top 12 on a smallmouth lake, that is exactly what he's hunting for. Let's see exactly how he's catching them.
I've been doing really good with this particular tube head. It's kind of got a fat head, and it's got a rattle built into it, and a goby colored tube, which is very much like a perch. But when you shove this in there, just wet it a little bit and shove it up your tube, it makes the head of it, you know, a little bit bigger, and that's just like what a goby is. And then when you punch the eye through there, and that rattles out there, when I'm shaking that, when I'm snapping that tube, that rattle's clicking, and it draws those smallies from a long ways, and it darts a lot. It's almost like fishing a jerk bait along the bottom. So it's something that the smallmouth really can't handle. They're real aggressive by nature anyway, so when you're cracking that tube like that, they can't handle it.
This is not your usual way you see a tube fished. He's purposely getting that bait down in the grass, then he's snapping it out. It gets a reaction bite. You don't feel the bite, your rod just loads up.
Usually I've been catching bigger ones when I picked up the tube.
And one thing about Kevin, he's never been to this lake, but this lake sets up perfectly for him. He grew up on a lake called Muskegon Lake. It fishes exactly like Oneida Lake.
Now here's a guy who is not in our top 12 on this final day, but he is the leader in our Toyota Rookie of the Year competition. Steve Kennedy, what a blazing start of the year. This guy had places like this, Santee Cooper in South Carolina. Just wore everyone out. He's got the huge lead right now over Bill Lowen.
Kicking the old school life jacket too there a second ago. Now, little Davey Wolak, last year's Rookie of the Year leader. Dave has made our top 12 here. His first top 12 of the year. The biggest thing he's doing, largemouth and smallmouth mixed.
First day I got here, I caught about a 3-pound smallmouth, and it regurgitated like 7 perch on the deck of my boat. So they're actually just gorging themselves with perch. This morning you could see the whole big school of little tiny perch out there.
Dave Wolak, Warrior Run, Pennsylvania, again, the Rookie of the Year from last year. He was one of your favorites. You said he knows where these fish live on this lake.
The Warrior is making a run right now, my friend. Catching largemouth and smallmouth, but they're just different creatures. You know, the largemouth is kind of the dude you hang out with that hasn't showered for a couple days, goes to happy hour every now and then. The smallmouth, well, he's the dude that chews his fingernails and drinks a lot of Red Bull. You know anybody like that, T-Money?
Well, yeah, I do, and I have showered in the past week, so forget about that. Bernie Schultz, another one of our guys in the top 12. Bernie Schultz hanging in there. Again, the competition is so tight. Bernie having his best tournament of the year so far.
Just that much of his body was above the surface.
Our day 2 leader. Fishing the jerkbait, when he gets one to strike, then he'll turn around and fish the tube in the drop shot.
Suki Miyazaki, of course, Japanese angler. We had a Japanese winner last time at Kentucky Lake. And Timmy Horton. Just about every tournament, this guy pops up in the top 12. If you're a fantasy player, you don't have yourself some Timmy Horton, you may be missing out this year.
I have nothing in fantasy fishing. I don't even have a wish coach guy right now.
We'll get to that a little bit later. Back to our largemouth guy. Again, people said the largemouth bite would not hold out past day 1 of this tournament. Here it is, day 4, final day, and Tommy Biffle still whacking him.
And not only that, one of the biggest things that Tommy's gone through in assault on his area. Matt Reed has punished it. Edwin Evers has punished his, but his spot is still reloading. And the one thing you'll notice right now about Tommy Biffle, he's not catching the size that got him to this last day. He had one good one this morning, but everything from here on out has been 13, 14, 15 inches.
Tommy Biffle, 2 second-place finishes in the Citgo Bassmaster Classic. He lost out to Brian Kirchhoff just by ounces back in 1993. 3 years before that, in 1990, Rick Flunn pretty much whipped the whole field, but that's 2 second places for Biffle. Aaron Martins has helped him out a little bit in that respect with his recent performances, but Biffle trying to hang the tag of winner back on himself this event at Oneida.
That's 5, but 3 of the wrong size.
Tommy Biffle hanging with the largemouth, but he needs bigger ones. As you say, Zona, is somebody going to run him down from behind with the smallmouth?
We said this tournament would come down to ounces, and that's exactly what's happening. One big bite, one fish caught or lost will be for $100 grand.
Could be Biffle, could be Ike, could be Cook, could be KVD. We got so much more to come. Don't go away.
Could be you.
Help a little bit. Oneida Lake below us there. We're back for the final hours of Championship Day. Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trails Elite Series. Stop number 8. 12 anglers out there slugging it out, trying to win the $100,000 first prize. There's a $200,000 first prize out there as well for the winner of the Citgo Angler of the Year contest. Look at our guys in the top 3 there. Kevin Wirth, Dean Rojas, and the man who's left in this field today, Mike Iaconelli, setting out there to do battle.
But a small, interesting surge going on right now from Kevin VanDam, who's also in our top 12.
Sure, he could make the top 5 when things are said and done here. Mike Iaconelli out there with Ken Cook, fishing for those smallmouth, hundreds of them on this spot.
Another big one. Got me in that grass. Oh no. It's got me in a patch of grass.
Yeah! 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 Bam! Yeah!
Look at that little itsy bitsy trout hook in the smallmouth's mouth. Woo! It's on now, guys. I hear a W coming. 4-pounder.
Run of victory right there. That's the sound we heard him make at Gunnersville. Iaconelli could be headed for the top spot. Meanwhile, Charlie Youngers made an earlier run today, did really well, still shaking down the smallmouth.
Here's what Charlie's got going on right now. He is catching a ton of fish. He's culling. You can only keep 5 bass. You can keep your 5 biggest bass. Keep the bigger ones, throw the smaller ones back. But Charlie's only gaining ounces right now. He's gaining, 2, 3, 4 ounces, and he's spending more time culling than he is fishing. Guys like Tommy Biffle, not catching a lot of fish, but they're upgrading a half a pound to a pound each time.
It helped about probably 5 or 6 ounces. There's one. Oh my goodness, that's gotta be another carp or drum. What in the world? What, is that a smallie? Oh my goodness, that's a smallmouth. That's one way I like largemouth better. They got a bigger mouth. It's easier to get them. That one will help. That's no contest there. I'm not even going to take time to goof around anymore. We're going to start catching them here in a minute.
And just like that, Charlie Youngers, that smallmouth flurry, Puts him in the lead, 59 pounds, 8 ounces, a half a pound ahead of Tommy Biffle. What a year it's been for Matt Reed, and here he is doing good once again.
We're making another Elite 12 cut, and you'll notice something. Fishing for largemouth. He's actually fishing the same areas this morning's leader, Tommy Biffle's fishing, and he's implying that little topwater frog, only catching largemouth, no smallies for Matt Reed. On the other side of the coin, we've got a guy, Russ Lane from Alabama. This next year's Classic is going to this guy's house, Lay Lake, basically his backyard. Russ has been catching largemouth all week, and we've talked about it. He has completely ran out. He has resorted to his smallies.
Boy, that's a good-looking smallie right there. Russ Lane in the top 20 solidifies himself this week in that top 20 of Angler of the Year points, ensuring that he makes it to the Classic. And how about Lee Bailey?
Your guy!
On day one, my guy, one of my picks to win this thing, Lee Bailey.
Yeah.
Originally from Connecticut, has probably fished this lake as much as anyone in this field. 18 pounds plus of largemouth on day one. He's the guy for whom the prediction ran true. He ran out of largemouth after that first day.
And I'm going to tell you something. Next week when we're at Lake Champlain, you better look out for Lee again. Basically has grown up fishing Champlain.
All right, spent the rest of this tournament working over the smallies, did Lee Bailey. And what about Ken Cook? Started off his season with a bang down at Lake Amistad. These last 2 or 3 events, he's come back alive again.
Let's give Ken a little bit of love. Didn't see too much of Ken last year. Showing up right now. It seems like Ken is a northern fisherman. Last year in the Northern Opens, Ken really excelled. He excelled for one reason, fishing that drop shot. Now, the biggest problem Ken has, it's what a lot of our smallmouth guys are having. They're only gaining ounces, precious ounces though. 1 ounce can win 100 grand.
Ken Cook, 59 years old. Does your heart good to see a guy of that age doing well. Won the Classic back in 1991. Hasn't won since then. Maybe this could be the year for Ken.
Be big. He's high sky or anything. Can jump big. Looks like a pretty good one, actually. I don't think he's quite 30, but he's bigger than a couple I got for sure.
Ken Cook, like everyone else, looking for that smallie that's going to upgrade his weight.
That one right there will do exactly that. He did not gain 2-3 ounces on that. He gained almost a half a pound.
Over to Kevin VanDam. Kevin VanDam trying to run down our leaders.
There they are busting again. That's a big one too.
Kevin VanDam looking to get one big. Oh, there's a good smallmouth. That will upgrade, and that will run Kevin VanDam into 3rd place, half a pound behind Tommy Biffle, who is half a pound behind Charlie Youngers. Who has the upper hand now?
One bite, and the top 5 guys right now can decide this entire event.
We've got about an hour's worth of fishing left to go. You wouldn't want to miss a single minute of it. We'll have it all wrapped up for you when we come back.
Yes!
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes! Woo!
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail final period of fishing in the Empire Chase presented by Mahindra Tractors. Championship Day, 12 anglers are out there. Some great competition going on. Great competition in our 2006 Toyota Horizon Award as well. For the most improved angler, Steve Daniel has improved 92 places over his last year's finish. Denny Brower has improved 91. So those guys will slug it out until season's end, and we got a slugfest going here.
We knew this tournament was going to come down to ounces, and it's literally going to come down to the last hour of fishing. Kevin VanDam, Ken Cook, and this guy, Mike Iaconelli. If one of these guys catches one big bite, game over.
Charlie Younger's the man with the lead. Tommy Biffle right behind him. A great race.
Go, it's a big one. God, it's a giant. It's a giant. Oh, God. Oh, God. Giant. Yeah! 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 3.5. See that? I'll tell you how fickle. You think smallmouth fishing's real easy, but it's not. I mean, all morning they were on that minnow, and all of a sudden the bite stopped, and I went to the little wacky crawler, night crawler looking deal. It's hooked in the middle, and instantly start getting fish. It's amazing.
Iaconelli's got the smallmouth turned on. He's turned on. He's got the lead. 60 pounds for Iaconelli. Younger's a half a pound back. Biffle a half a pound back of him. Half a pound back of those guys. Kevin VanDam, is this a race or what? Biffle sticking with the largemouth.
Yeah, you got to bring it up. Sanders, you said it earlier in the show. Tommy Biffle has lost huge tournaments on the last day. What's he only caught? 5 or 6 fish so far? This could be happening again.
Tommy Biffle with the largemouth. He's only got 2 good-sized largemouth, the kind you need to win the tournament in the boat. The rest of his limit is small ones, but with this one, he's going to get to start culling. This is the direction he needs to go, and he desperately needs to cull some more bass. Tommy Biffle, 11 years since his last big win with the Bassmasters.
Yes! That's the kind. Right there, T-Naughty. That is the kind you need to win this.
If he can cull with one more fish like this, he's got this tournament in his back pocket.
That'll work. One more. One more and I'm gonna hurt the boys. I'm gonna make them have to beat me. If I catch me one more good one, I'm gonna win 100,000. I can get rid of that other little one in there. They're gonna have to catch him.
Biffle knows his largemouth play can win this thing for him if he can just finish it. Kevin VanDam, meanwhile, is going to finish on his best smallmouth spot.
What this is it's a spoils area, a dumping ground from when they dug the channel out there. So there's all these little high spots where they dumped dirt from that, and rocks and stuff, and all this milfoil grows on each one of them. So it's structured covered with grass.
Kevin VanDam said, coming into this tournament, Zona, if I catch 15 pounds a day, 15 pounds, I will win this event. Right now, Kevin VanDam has exceeded his goal.
Yeah, that's a good one. That definitely helps.
Tightening up in the final moments. Kevin VanDam is now just a pound behind Tommy Biffle. And Tommy Biffle, with 10 minutes left to fish here, he's seen a fish come off of that bank and go across the little bay, right?
Check this out. He watched a bass swim out from an undercut, had a black knot, a black spot on its head. It swam under this undercut over here. There's a little bit of grass and trash blown in here. He was trying to catch the exact fish he's seen swim out of the undercut from the other side of the bay.
Seriously, what are the chances of catching a fish like that?
In the last 10 minutes.
That's him. See the black spot?
Tommy Biffle cast his lot with the largemouth bass. No one thought they would last to the final day of the tournament, but for Biffle, they've lasted till the final cast.
I might go Ike. I don't even like him.
Oh, no! Oh, go ahead and go, Ike. You may have put this tournament away with that heroic final largemouth. Tommy Biffle headed for the weigh-in.
I might go Sanders, and you know what? I do like him.
Yes! Woo!
The Citgo Bassmaster Elite Series Empire Chase, presented by Mahindra Tractors, and is brought to you by Citgo, Mahindra Tractors, Triton Boats, and Purelator.
Tommy! I don't have an idea who's going to win this tournament. Doug Comstack does. Who's going to win today? Mike Iaconelli! I think he's going with Iaconelli. Why should we believe you? Because he's going to win! He doesn't have a clue. I do know they want to weigh in, Tommy. Take it away.
Good crowd here at Lake Oneida, and you can be sure that no one is going to leave until the bitter end. This is the closest competition the Bassmasters have had in a long, long time. One of the competitors to make a big splash at the weigh-in today is Charlie Youngers. The Florida angler brings in 15 pounds, 7 ounces. That will give him top standing and a place on the hot seat. Kevin VanDam is up next. Youngers watches as KVD falls just short, 4 ounces short of grabbing the lead. Then it's Iaconelli. Ike is 6 ounces short of getting into first. Next up is our second-day leader, Yasuki Miyazaki, trying to make it 2 in a row for Japanese anglers on the Elite Series, but a disappointing 12 pounds, 6 ounces puts him back in the pack. Many are picking Dave Wallach to take it all today. He's 13-12, and just a hair short at 13-07. Ken Cook next. The second half of his season has been amazing this year. A win would make it just about perfect. He needs 13-9 to take the lead away from Youngers.
13 pounds, 4 ounces for Ken Cook.
But it's not to be today for Ken Cook. Charlie Youngers still on top, 1 angler left to go. Tommy Biffle has stuck with his game plan all week. Needs 13 pounds, 2 ounces to clinch his first big win in 11 years with the Bassmasters.
He has put 47.10 on the scales. He needs 13 pounds and 2 ounces. Nothing but largemouth all week long for Tommy Biffle. Looking for 13.2. How about 16 pounds even? Bang! Tommy Biffle claims the Empire Chase. 63.10. 16-pound day today, 63.10 for the week. You beat the average and you beat the odds with smallmouth bass. Today, you get your first Elite 12 win and become a Bass millionaire. What's going through your mind right now, Tommy?
Pretty good day, isn't it?
Yeah. Enough said. Let's just sum it up right there. It doesn't get much better than that. Congratulations to you, Tommy. Congratulations, Charlie, and to all of our Elite 12. This has been literally one of our tightest and most dramatic tournaments all season. You did what you said you were going to do. You stuck to your guns, and you took the title. Congratulations.
You know, it's kind of odd that I made it this far because every day I kept thinking they were going to run out. They were going to run out. But yesterday I caught probably 2.5 limits, and I thought I might make it. And yesterday by 8:30 I had about 16 pounds. Today by 8:30 I never had a bite. So I told Keith this morning I needed the sun come out. This afternoon the sun came out. They started biting. So worked pretty good.
Turned out to be a pretty darn fun day for Tommy Biffle. He catches his largemouth, he puts a whooping on the field, picks up his first Bassmaster win in 11 years. How about that?
Great job for Tommy, but let's give Charlie Youngers some love right now. Second place finish truly shows that good guys finish second.
Well, it pretty much was a 6-way tie for second place. Really just a few ounces separating the second 6 places after Tommy Biffle. But again, hats off to all his crew. It wasn't easy differentiating yourself from the crowd here at Lake Oneida.
I got to say one thing. You know, I got to have lunch with McInnes on day 2 of this tournament. We both said there is no way largemouth will win this event. Well, we know nothing about this sport.
You guys have proven that you know nothing about a couple other things, too. We'll get to that in just a moment. But now, let's talk about Tommy Biffle. He hits the $1 million mark. It seems every other week now we've got an angler going over $1 million. That must mean there's a lot more money out there.
Tommy, now that you bring up money, let's check out the 2006 Elite Series money list. Look at this. Peter T. running the show over 300 grand. Let's go all the way down to 17th place. Matt Reed over 100,000. But the interesting stat here, you can go down to half of the field has won over $50,000. We're not even finished with the year. That's great stuff.
That's amazing stuff. A lot of money out there for the non-boaters as well. Donald Bishop, case in point, the non-boater winner here at Lake Oneida, the $45,000 prize package there. Let's talk about bush heavyweights too. We're taking the top 10 weights from the Elite Series, the top 10 single-day weights, and we haven't had a change since back at Clark's Hill Reservoir back in Georgia. Ish Monroe, still the man on top. Jeff Canella sitting in 10th place with 21.10. Will that get broken?
The winds of change are coming this week at Champlain. I'm going to predict a couple weights are going to pass Jeff's weight.
All right, that prediction, we'll
Let's
watch
shut her
that.
down.
Let's shut. Yeah. Oh, wait. Have you ever played fantasy bass fishing? That is a fun game.
I don't even know you anymore.
Let's watch. Let's
check
look at the
out the standings from last week. Tommy Sanders still running the show. First place.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Zona, the donkey, creeping up. McInnes was a no-show this week. But the biggest thing is McInnes has a new project going. He's working on promoting fantasy red fishing.
Oh, well, that will explain a lot of things then. What about your predictions for Champlain? This is a tough one to figure out. What are you going with?
I am staying with Aaron Martin's, but you can keep riding Kevin VanDam's back. You've been there all year.
Kevin
Nice
VanDam,
job.
keeping a couple more of my big men. I'm keeping half the team on board. That's my philosophy. We'll see how that pans out at Lake Champlain when we see you next time on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail.
That's just the ones you want to start with right there, bro. 3+. That's 2. That'll help.
Yes! Woo!
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to Bassmaster.com.
That's the kind right there, T-Naughty.